here's what I have for you today. Now, I know a lot of you are either looking for a new product management job right now, or you're about to begin one. I've seen many people who are doing their first search for a product management job. In fact, some of them have been doing it for a long time, several months, several years. And others who are looking for their next job, people who are trying to break into leadership roles, become a group PM, a director, whatnot. Like, a lot is happening in the product management market. And what I've seen is that product managers do a suboptimal search in these 5 mistakes, and that costs them a lot of things. So it costs people, first of all, they don't get the job that they loved, that they wanted. They get another job that pays less. I've seen people lose hundreds of thousands of dollars in the kinds of positions they left because of these 5 simple mistakes. And so I want you to not make those mistakes. Um, so I just as an example, there's a product manager I work with, and he was making a lot of these mistakes, and we one by one started to get rid of those, which means that he actually got a job one level above where he was targeting. So at a company, he was targeting a L5, he got a L6. You know what that means, getting that L6? That means 2 years later in his career, he'll be managing a team of PMs. That means the service and the product that he's managing is so much bigger than what he had targeted. But that also means that that product manager is going to be making $100,000 more per year once you factor in the change in base salary, stocks, and bonuses and other things than he was before. 100,000 more per year. Calculate that. This person's going to be working for another 30 years. That's like $3 million. So huge impact of making the mistake. So when you don't get it right, you lose anywhere from 10, 20, 30, 50, $100,000 per year. You take longer and get more frustrated in your job search. You end up at a place where you're not happy, and just things don't work out. While the same person with the same qualifications, when they don't make these mistakes, they make a lot more money. They get appreciated for the work they're doing. It takes them less time and effort to find that job. They often have multiple offers. They work for the best companies. Things just end up working for them. So what I'm going to walk you through is step by step what these 5 mistakes are, when you're making them, and how do you start to think about not making them. And by the way, if you already know you're going to need help with searching and finding that next amazing product management job that literally is going to make you millions more over the course of your career, shobitchuk.com/apply. Apply to speak with me. If if you're not a good fit, I'll just tell you and I'll cancel the call. So don't worry. But if you are a good fit, you'll be filling out a small qualification form. Then we'll get on the phone. We'll understand what's going on. We'll build a step-by-step approach of helping you not make those mistakes, of going to that next level in your career. And, if you're a good fit to work with me, I'll show you exactly how. Otherwise, I'll tell you about other people who might be most helpful. So let's get into it. The 5 mistakes PMs make. The first one is very simple, but not easy. It's what we call clicking the easy button. So when I ask a lot of the PMs who are looking for that next job, and I ask them simple questions that, hey, what's the type of company you want to work at? What's your target list? And exactly what they want. What I find happening is that they are going after companies that are easier to get to rather than the companies in positions that will actually make them happy. So, they are going through LinkedIn. They're saying, oh, LinkedIn has this apply button, which makes it super easy to apply to a bunch of places. And the PM's routines are, I get up in the morning, I do whatever I do, and then I go apply to 30 jobs. Then I go to sleep. Next day, you don't go to sleep, you get on with your work or whatever. And then next day, you do the same thing. You're taking the easy approach to applying to as many places as you can, rather than being strategic and thoughtful and intentional, my favorite word, about where exactly should you be applying, why exactly are you the best qualified product manager to work there, and then who should you network with, who should you go after, how do you get referrals, how do you get a leg up on the competition, all those things that you need to be intentional and strategic about. I would say 80% of people, they're not even doing that. They're just going and applying. So number one mistake. And very often this is the case where having a coach is so helpful, because the same thing applies to me. When I look at my own business, there's places where I go on autopilot. I click the easy button. And then my coach asks me a question. So, how do you want your client experience to really be? And then I start to really think about and I optimize what I'm doing daily to make sure my clients have the best experience. The same thing is happening every day with product managers who are applying for this new job. So don't click the easy button. Be intentional in the search you're going after, the jobs you're going after. So that was number one. Second, treating applying to product management jobs as a check the box exercise. So a very typical mindset that I see is product managers come and they say, so this job, they require, 7 years of experience. They require this, they require that. I meet 30% of qualifications, 50% of qualifications. How do I convince them I meet 100%? And then I go from there. I know that's how job descriptions are written. But that is not what your interviewers, your recruiters, your hiring manager wants from you. They want you to, rather than focusing on check the boxes, they want you to tell a story. They want to be motivated, inspired by you. They want you to be the kind of person that they want to work with. And consistently, what happens is that there is this one person that everyone loves. And that person is often not the most qualified for the job, but he or she gets the job because you created that level of emotional engagement with your interviewers. You came across as someone who's confident, but not, overconfident or not full of themselves. You came across as someone who is willing to learn, someone who will look after your coworkers. All these aspects is someone who's truly passionate about the job and the space. So, like, those are the things that make a huge difference. I know this one student of mine got a job at Amazon, and one of the things he kept repeating over and over again after our first discussion was exactly how Amazon changed his life. And of course, he had to do well in all the interviews. It's not that he would suck at the interviews and he would get the job, but he told me later that, interviewers remembered that emotional connection really mattered. So it's not a check the box exercises. It's not a check the box exercise. It's a design exercise. It's a storytelling exercise. That's what you're looking to do. So that's number two. Number three, as in everything in life, what I see most people focus on is 100% on the strategy and 0% on the performance psychology. So here's what I mean. I could have spent a lot of time before this Facebook Live thinking through everything I wanted to say. I could script it out, I could write it out, and do a whole bunch of preparation, but do nothing about my mental state, of how I want my mental state to be when I show up. Or I could write down all the, like, just like bullet points. Here's what I want to say. And then go and stretch myself and, like just get into a great state and align my mindset, or what I like to call my performance psychology, and then show up. And what will happen is that when I align my performance psychology about with what I want to deliver and how I want to show up, my results will be dramatically better than if I try to worry about every single word I want to say. And so with anything in life, really what matters is 20% of it is strategy, which is the how, and 80% of it is the psychology, which is what your mental state is when you make the decisions, when you show up, how confident you are. Those are the things that truly make the difference. And the fact is that most people are almost exclusively focused on the how. They're often thinking of, in all these tricky situations. And by the way, looking for a new job is a tricky situation. What are the steps I need to follow to get ahead? But that's not how life works. 80% of what's actually coming out is what your mental state is when you showed up there, what you believe to be true about the world, what you believe to be true about the interviewer, what you believe to be true about you, what you believe to be true about your potential in doing that job. And the person who shows up with that right mental frame, with that right confidence, almost always gets the job. And that's where, like almost any other program that you'll see, they're just not focused on that. And what's causing is most people are actually having a lot more stress and going through a lot of unnecessary heartburn as compared to people who work with me. So, just don't just focus on your strategy. Don't just focus on the how. Worry about your mindset and your performance psychology first before anything else. Okay, those are 3. 2 more to go. Number 4, getting trapped in the frameworks. So when you're working on anything, right, there's 4 levels of competence. There is unconscious incompetence, which is you're bad and you have no idea you're bad. You're that bad. Then it's conscious incompetence, which is you're bad and you are bad. You're bad and you know it. Then above that is conscious competence, which is you're good, you're starting to get good, but you really have to put a lot of mental effort into it and make sure you're focused and keep being good. And then there's unconscious competence, right? Which is you're so good, but you it just flows. Things flow, your interview flows, your speaking flows, everything just works. You don't have to think about it too much. Most people, they start using frameworks, and there's all these frameworks, pedals and Glee and all this stuff. What happens is people get trapped in the conscious competence level. They're sort of like, this is the framework, then I will say this, then I will say this. People, but to do really well, especially at an interview like a Google or Amazon or Facebook, you got to transcend that. And you got to get to that unconscious competence level where you're going beyond the frameworks, where you're learning to dance within the frameworks, where you have the level of creativity even within the frameworks. And that's what you need to get to. But what I see in terms of a big mistake is people getting trapped. And I know this is go live, but I got to take this call, so I'll be back in just 1 second. Never mind. Call went through. Okay. So the last one, which is the last mistake I see people make, is that they don't get feedback from people that matter. As in people that have interviewed PMs, they have coached PMs, they know what good product management is, and they're able to deal with it, right? While PMs that they're just practicing with each other. So, they're getting feedback from another person who's exactly at the same place. They're both trying to crack the same interview, and that's what they're practicing with their peers. I mean, what's going to be the use? Who's going to tell you exactly how do you get better? Who's that expert coach who's guiding you? And by the way, coaching during interviewing, it's the fastest return on investment, other than maybe hiring a coach to negotiate your offer. That's another place where you get a lot of value. So you got to get feedback from people who have seen um, PMs get interviews, but even better, people who've coached multiple PMs get better because there's all these different steps that they go through. And so you got to get that feedback fast. Otherwise, you're spending months. And by the way, that perfect job might be right there. And because you didn't show up prepared, you sucked and you missed it. And so that's what I want not to happen for you. So let's recap. Mistakes PMs make the most. Number one, they click the easy button. They don't have a strategy or an approach. They're not intentional about the job search. They just go with whatever jobs appear. Second, treating this as a check the box exercise rather than a storytelling and a design exercise, which really finding that new product management job, that's what it's all about. Third is focus 100% on the how, on your strategy, and not focusing on your mindset and your performance psychology, your confidence, because that makes a huge difference in everything, but definitely in you finding the job. Last but not least, getting trapped in the frameworks, staying to that level of conscious competence, but not going beyond that. And what happens is your interviewer is you're like any other person. You're just like another person who's following the frameworks. And last but not least, not getting the feedback and the coaching from the people that matters, that have seen it, and that helps you transcend where you are and get to the next level. And what happens when you get these wrong is that you take forever to find that job. You miss a lot of opportunities. You don't get multiple offers. Your compensation could be down by, you could lose out on 20, 30, 50, $100,000 in US and similar in other places. And when you get these right, you love the job search process. You shake off even disappointments faster. You actually get better as a product manager. You get paid a lot more. You get to a much higher level in your career. That's the difference it makes. So, it's just fundamentally different thing for your career. And if you know already you need help, you know how to reach out to me. shobitchuk.com, my first and last name together.com/apply. Or you could go to intentionalproductmanager.com/apply. It's just an easy URL for you to remember. Go find time to speak with me or my team. We'll make you go through a short application process to make sure you're a good fit to talk with us. And then we'll get on a call. We'll help you step by step figure out how do you get to the next level? How do you succeed in the search? And if you'll benefit from working with us, we'll show you how. And if not, we'll tell you maybe about other resources or people who'll be most helpful. And if you have any questions, feel free to comment below this. I will be watching the end of the live stream and people posting questions, and I'll take those questions and I'll answer them as comments to wherever this is being live streamed to, on my Facebook page, on my Facebook profile, as well as on my Facebook group. Not yet on LinkedIn, because LinkedIn has not yet given me permission to go live there. Apparently, they don't love me as much, but Facebook does. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you very soon. And don't forget the URL, shobitchuk.com or intentionalproductmanager.com/apply. See you soon.